Did I trick Lucas into watching a romantic comedy? I discussed this and more on today's episode. Um, I
You
thought that
kind
was
of
funny.
did.
Welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about unusual books and whatnot, and occasionally I'll talk about a movie with my friend Lucas from Strike the Sun and D.
What
Hello,
up?
Lucas. How are you doing today?
I am doing quite well, well rested and relaxed today, and excited to talk about this very interesting, very good, slightly flawed movie.
Yeah, I am also excited to talk about this movie. Uh, I watched it. I was so excited. I watched it like at the beginning of the month, and then I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I should probably buy this. So I bought it, and fortunately, I had to buy it from India because it was only like they don't have like physical copies on Amazon that are not like region locked. So
Mm.
I bought a copy and then it came like last week and I was able to watch it again, which I really love. And I'll probably keep watching. I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
But the movie that
It's
we're talking about is a sort of music movie. I don't want to say musical, but it's also like it's difficult to say like musical because a lot of movies in India have music in them. So I'd say it's more of a romantic Bollywood type movie. And so the movie we're talking about is Rockstar, which was made in 2011, and it was directed and written by Imtiaz Ali, starring Ranbir Kapoor as in the titular role, or not titular, in the lead role as Janardhan Jordan, and then also starring Nargis Bakri, who plays Heer. And something important to note is the music was done by A.R. Rahman, who does a lot of music in Bollywood or in Indian cinema. And it's just notable because this won Best Music Album that year and is very well regarded in India. The
it,
music
it is a
album in
great
particular.
it is a great soundtrack. All the songs are pretty good, and like yeah, the lyrics are quite fitting and moving and pretty full of really strong imagery, I think,
Mm-hmm.
as well.
There's a couple songs in particular that really stand out to me, and like
Yeah,
I've highlighted their
same.
lyrics because they pertain to what's going on in the story, and so I'll bring
Mm.
that up throughout the video.
There's only one that like I liked all. I think I liked all the songs, or most of them at least, to varying degrees, but generally speaking, quite liked a lot all of them. But there is one in particular that, yeah, the image sticks out in my head. But then there's another song where the actions of the character stick out in my mind. So I'm interested to talk about each performance with you as well.
Yeah, I'm eager to because you might have noticed things that I didn't notice, and I probably noticed a few things that like that you might not have noticed. So
Well, you
yeah,
watched it a couple times, so I think
yeah,
you've seen it three times in total now. So
no,
you
just
probably
twice. Although if you
you
count the
watched it
number
a
of
long
times
time.
if you count the number of times I've watched the Sadahawk music video, that's
Okay, okay.
probably a lot. Um, there's also another character in the movie, Ustad. He's played by Shami Kapoor. Uh,
Mm.
it's a very small role, and I do think they meant to do more with this character, but they ended up not doing that.
Yeah.
Um, Shami Kapoor is actually a legendary Bollywood actor. This was his last role before he died, but like,
What?
yeah, he is he was a big deal in Indian
Mm,
cinema. Like, so like for him to be in this movie is kind of an important thing there.
yeah, pretty significant.
Yeah.
I guess we should start with the film.
Yeah. The movie begins in media res, which is one of my favorite things to say. It basically begins like at a later point in the story, Janardon, or Jordan as he'll come to be known, is a big famous musician, and he's playing music in Italy. But we first see him getting beaten up by the Italian police.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was I love that. That was uh, a very good introduction to, like, one of the best introductions I think to any character uh, that I've seen in a while in cinema. He does also have this very, I guess, because he's like a stage performing musician, very strong like stage presence as well. Uh, the one thing that was distracting for me, like I don't want to like uh, nitpick. It's not actually a bad thing. But he looked like he had the long curly hair, like I do kind of now. But this just ridiculous thin mustache. And it was hard for me to, I just felt he needs to have the whole beard and it would look good. But the thin mustache, I just kept looking at it and getting distracted. I don't know why.
See, I'm on the opposite side where I was like, wow, this dude and how he looks, especially at the end of the movie, that it's
Yeah.
like, this is what masculinity is to me. So I was like, wow, this guy looks great. Like, no notes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying anything like negative against him. I just was like, either let it be a little thicker or just grow out the thin whole thing, whole facial hair. But because it just looked like it was a little bit thicker, I think, than Vincent Price. But I just kept thinking this is Indian Vincent Price.
He's gonna start doing the Thriller intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's getting beaten up, which is a theme of what's going to happen to him later in the movie. Very antagonistic towards the police. But like he goes to a concert at the Coliseum,
Mm.
and he just like Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
But like he's going there, and then like the movie sort of goes back, or like it does a montage of music over his entire uh career. Again, another way of like non-linear storytelling, which Imtiaz Ali is kind of known for. But then it flashes to like the beginning of the story, like
Mm.
where he's beginning his music career.
Yeah, as
Uh,
a college student, I believe.
yeah, he goes to Hindu college, which as soon as we meet here, I'll ask you a big question. But yeah, he's not a like he's good, but he like everyone's making fun of him. The police are beating him up on the street,
Yeah.
uh, telling him not to sing and trying to take away his guitar. And everyone is just kind of like you don't have any stage presence. Your music is kind of soft. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love that scene where he's trying to learn how to have stage presence, and they just keep laughing at him and yeah, teasing him about his entire total social ineptness for on the stage, but also just he has no social awareness in some sense. Um, like he's playing music where he shouldn't, and he doesn't realize people are laughing at him. It doesn't seem like he doesn't care that they're laughing at him. It just seems he doesn't understand what's going on,
Yeah.
which
He
is
doesn't care that he's
interesting.
being made fun of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has a conversation with Katana, a man who's pretty close to him. And
Oh,
he tells him two things. One, most musicians need to, or like sing from a place of pain, um, which is the sort of central idea of this story. That
yeah.
Jordan doesn't have, or Janardon doesn't have pain in his life, doesn't have, hasn't wanted for much. He says he was like he's not adopted or anything like that. He
Yes.
lives an okay life, and so like he needs to experience pain. But that's not the only thing we find out in this conversation. The other thing is that he idolizes Jim Morrison from The Doors,
Mm, yeah.
which to me was a little bit of a red flag early in this movie. Um,
Yes.
he's like because he talks about how like Jim Morrison is sticking his middle finger up at the at his fans and they're still cheering him on and like yeah like he's like I want that level of fame, so like he wants the fame but he's idolizing a man who died of drug overdose and by all accounts lived a miserable life. And so like
Yeah.
that caught me right away, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like a person that you'd want to like. I
Am
maybe
I?
for his
Yeah.
music craft, but like,
Yeah, that's right. I agree with that assessment, but am I wrong in my knowledge of Jim Morrison? Maybe I'm thinking of a different artist. Um, I know he died at 27. He's like in the 27 club, but and did live like miserably or treat himself poorly once he like became an on the road musician. But wasn't his like younger life good? Like I'm pretty sure his dad had a decent job or like a government job or something. I didn't look into this, but I was thinking that I have this memory of learning that I there's a Val Kilmer film where he
mhm,
plays Jim Morrison. I don't remember if that covers it or if I've read about it or if I'm thinking of another artist, but that was kind of an interesting. Maybe I'm just like Mandela affecting that knowledge of
mhm.
Jim Morrison, but what you said, I didn't even think about when I was watching it, but I was thinking like, didn't Jim Morrison have like a good childhood too? Maybe or like generally good. Maybe there are problems I don't know about, but like I think he grew up at least middle class. If I'm wrong, someone please tell me.
Well, that put a pin in it. We'll have to look that up
Yeah,
later.
we'll look it up later. We'll come back to it. You can edit it in to see, correct how wrong I was. Put it, failure there. Anyway, I do agree. I didn't think about that when I was watching because I was focused on what I just said. But yeah, he's looking up to someone who died young of drugs and in general just like didn't treat themselves well. Um, and the other thing is like the like you need to feel pain. That I don't agree with that at all. Personally, I didn't enjoy that. I don't think that was actually what the movie was trying to say. That was just what his character said because we see the pain that um, Jordan goes through, and it does not seem worth it um, to get what you want to become an artist. But I thought I loved when he's like making a list of all the good things he has in his life, and he just seems so disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. I think like obviously you we like I don't agree that you need pain. I think you need more experience to come from a place where you're singing about love or anything like that. But like in this moment, I feel like the key item is that Jordan is receiving bad advice. Like
Yeah,
he like it, the movie isn't saying you need pain. The movie is showing that Jordan is like heading down like a misinformed path, and it's
yeah,
gonna really fuck him over pretty soon.
yeah. Not just like the emotional pain he will go through throughout this film, but also just warp his mind,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
put him down a mental path that leads to tragedy for his mind and his heart. Uh, and yeah, I mean, it's just terrible advice from someone who hilarious. The way he says it is also really funny. When his mentor guy at this point is basically saying like, you don't have it in you, you can't do it.
Hmm.
You didn't live that life, you don't know what it is, but he doesn't either.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I don't know why he thought he should listen to him, but anyway. I did enjoy this conundrum going on here. I thought it was a really good tension builder, although
Hmm.
it very clearly telegraphed the rest of the film. Not necessarily a problem, uh, but we can continue. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. So Jordan meets Heer at this point, who is another main character of the movie. Heer goes to St. Stephen's College, which I feel is important there. Do you know anything about Hindu College and St. Stephen's College?
no, but I would guess there is a class and caste divide there.
Hmm. Yeah, so Hindu College was a college founded by Indian people near the 1900s,
Mhm.
and it was a place where the Indian people like studied, but also fomented the revolution that would eventually happen.
Oh,
And
cool.
so, like it generally like the more lower class Indian people go there.
Hmm.
Whereas at St. Stephen's College, that's well known
British.
as being the place where like the British kind of created that
Mm.
college, and it's also a place where the elite and the influential in society send their children. So it's a bit interesting that here would go there, whereas Jordan would go to Hindu college. I wonder if that
Yeah.
comes up later in the movie or at all in the movie.
I wonder. I really do wonder. Uh, was that your, I guess, was that your question? Do I know anything about
Oh
the
yeah,
two?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed. That one was a British one and the other one was an Indian one, and there's a class divide there because Hira seems to be in an arranged marriage with a, I don't know if it's arranged. I assume it is. I don't know if I missed something, but she's going to get married
Mm-hmm.
to some guy like straight out of college. He's not straight out of college, but as soon as she gets out of college, to someone who looks slightly older than her, or well, at least 10 years older than her, who has a kind of like mini mansion in Prague, which
Mm-hmm.
is where she will be leaving for after university. And she's also a uh, well beloved dancer in this area. In her college, at least, everybody's talking about her. She's cool and hot at the same time, as Jordan says to her.
Mm-hmm.
um, and Jordan, in his absolute brilliance and complete lack of social awareness, decides I'm going to break my own heart by asking this woman for her hand in marriage.
It's very like childish kind of thinking like, oh, I'll just ask out this person who's married, she'll break my heart and I'll become a great musician. And he just starts creeping on her. Like he shows up at
Yeah.
various points in her day, even like sitting in her car when she gets in her car, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, he's he goes to some extreme lengths to get her attention, just so she'll turn him down and he can feel heartbroken. Um at this point, I think I was messaging you while I was watching that part, like there's a darkness inside of him,
Mm-hmm.
uh which I mean we'll see it exposed much later, more clearly. This is sort of like an innocence in his darkness, but there is like this one track path. No, what am I thinking? What's the word? What's the phrase? Uh, he's got tunnel vision, is what I'm trying to say about
Mm-hmm.
what he wants, and he does not care at all about the uh, what others think of what he's trying to do. He tries to flirt with her. This is one of the more innocent parts of his behavior. He tries to flirt with her, calls her cool and hot, and says "I love you" in front of her friends, and she's like telling him "bugger off" and these kind of things. Uh, Afterwards, he goes. with crocodile tears to his good old pal who told him he needs to get his heart broken. Maybe not real, not crocodile tears, but that's what was his name again?
Katana.
Katana. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was Katapi for some reason. Katana. Uh, Katana says, "These aren't real tears. This is nonsense. Quit doing this. You don't know the meaning of heartbreak."
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. No, go on.
and then Jordan continues and persists further to prove himself, which is scary on many levels. I'm sure there is some kind of commentary there on masculinity, maybe, or something we could say, point out at least. Um, but then he finally gets Hira's attention, and she's like, "What? What do you want? Just
Hmm.
tell me." Like, not like she's annoyed, but she's literally just like, "Tell me what you want right now, and let's see what we can make of this." And he doesn't know what he wants because he doesn't actually want anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he told her what he actually wants, which is to have his heart broken,
He'll
what is
look
she supposed to
he'll
do
look
with that
really weird.
information? It's so creepy.
Um, there's a point you said he like flirts weird. Like he's like I would love to recite like some great poetry from like a famous like poet. And when she's like,
Mhm.
okay, well tell me, and he's like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah. But I'll
Like
I'll ask someone and tell you later.
like he's doing this like completely because he thinks he has to, not because he pretty cares for this girl yet. And
Yeah.
I think that's an important distinction there, that it's all for show on his part.
Yeah, that's right. Um, yeah, there's just so much of this darkness coming out of like, I will get what I want, no matter the costs or consequences. And it comes out in weird and funny ways because he's at heart like a good guy. Um, but yeah, he doesn't realize how terrible he's acting. Um, but then something interesting happens that I love as a twist and turn to the story. Kira tells him she's going to a movie in Old Delhi. Uh, and that movie is, forgot the Indian name,
Wild Youth.
Wild Youth, which seems to be slightly pornographic in nature based on their discussion. And she's making it very clear that she's now interested in him because she saw a little bit of humility in him as soon as she gave him the time of day to say, like, what do you want? And he was like, sorry, bye.
Hmm.
She comes up and finds him again. Yeah, they have a little chat. Then she tells him, I'm going to go see Wild Youth. And he knows what that movie is because he's seen the advertisements. And she says, so have I. And I'm interested um, in going. And he's still not getting the hint that she's inviting him to go. Uh, and eventually, she makes it very clear, I'm going by myself. Maybe I need someone to go with me.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they go together and they form this really sweet, kind of immature relationship. Uh, Immature in the sense of the things that they do are just like, let's be wild and free and fun. Um,
That's not the terminology she uses are like base. She wants to do like cheap things.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so like they go and do like stuff that interestingly is all stuff that that in her high class, like in her social status, she couldn't be seen doing normally. Um
Yeah,
and none of her friends would want to do with her. And so she invites this maybe lower class boy to go along and do those things with her. And that includes like going and like watch or like saying hello to these dudes who are peeing on the wall. Um, which is funny. Going to like these porn movies or like these softcore type movies,
Mm,
and just a variety of other unusual and sort of low class things.
yeah.
Uh, and again, that gets at like the class element to this movie.
Hmm.
But as things grow closer between Heer and Jordan, uh, like there, Heer's wedding is coming up. But also, as we find out, Jordan is getting like an offer to sing on an album
Hmm.
for platinum music, and Jordan's like, no, no, I don't really want that right now, and he goes and hangs out with Heer some more. And that indicates that maybe what he really wants is not fame but love.
Yeah, he definitely wants love. And to tie into your discussion of class, all these things that she wants to do, the cheap things, she's also running out of time to have any amount of freedom to do these kinds of cheap things because now that she'll be a wife of a rich guy, even more expectations on her. But yeah, does seem like he wants love. This desire to have his heart broken is slowly shifting, or quickly, I suppose, because he's found someone. Uh, I wouldn't say. I guess she wanted to find someone who could match her freak, um, so to
Yep.
speak,
Mm-hmm.
and she found that in him. And she feels very comfortable and open. She can be herself, have fun doing these things that make her feel free, which is what she wants. uh, and yeah, slowly but surely she makes it a lot more clear. You see a lot more longing gazes from her to him, that she wants him as well. uh, and then the wedding comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
And
she's like she asks for him to hug her. Very intimate moment. Jordan doesn't realize what's going on, and he goes
yeah.
to Kashmir to be with um, to be with here at her wedding. Tells his family that like he's going somewhere else. Like he's ditching his responsibilities, which is interesting because his family's already getting tired of his like guitar singing ways. Um,
Yeah.
but like it's funny because he goes to see her in the days before the wedding, and all the family's just like, oh, it's such good friends, even though like he's a man. Nobody really sees what's actually happening there, and then you get like a montage of them hanging out even more. There's a really cool wide sweeping crane shot of them on a mountain. um
Hmm.
One of my favorite shots of the movie, because it's just them talking, like they're just having a conversation, showing that it's more than just a physical sort of relationship. They're becoming friends. They're becoming
Yeah. It's
closer and closer.
Yeah, they're becoming genuine friends. There's an intellectual aspect to it. I mean, they're doing like cheap things, but they actually enjoy having conversation with each other. And yeah, there's an emotional attachment now, festering, growing, soon to be exploding. Um, Certainly that hug moment. He is, again, still socially unaware, doesn't seem to realize,
Hmm.
oh, actually, I really want this person. He's a little bit slower to the punch on that. She wants him almost right away. Like once she's found someone she can be totally herself, it's like not soon after you start seeing her looking at him when he's like just looking at something else. She's looking at him with longing eyes and that kind of thing. Um, it was very sweet. That hug, he's just
Yeah, a
awkward.
weird hug.
And she says something like, "Are you going somewhere? Like, do you have somewhere to be?" Because she wants it to be longer. She wants it like hug properly, hug the right way.
Hmm.
Because she just wants, yeah, his touch in a way that she won't be able to have soon, and this kind of thing. Um, it's very sweet romance that can't be. Very, very well done. Uh, Such
And then
interesting characters. Yeah.
as she's in her wedding dress, her wedding outfit,
Beautiful dress, by the way.
I think they suggest that they should run away together, but Jordan's like, nah, actually, I'm not sure about that. And here says
Yeah.
something that stuck out to me. It's like, don't ask me anything, or else I'll tell the truth.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And he does ask some, oh, like he gets a little bit more direct after that and says like, "Don't tell me you fell in love with me." And she just looks at him for a little while and then asks a totally different question. It's very obvious at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did. She has fallen for you completely, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But because of class and custom and this kind of thing, uh, she's got to go marry this guy, and that's going to be her life, going to Prague. But she invites him to go so they can do cheap things in Prague together, which is interesting to me. I would have thought. I mean, I know they're like close. I'm guessing maybe people saw Jordan at this point uh, with her, but thought maybe they already knew, like, oh, she's above him in class. So
Mm-hmm.
they're just, I don't even know if they would have thought they were friends. She's just like letting him tag along or something like that. So they never would have thought there is a budding romance going on. But I was a little thinking like she's in what seems like an arranged marriage, or because you don't see this guy until she's in Prague. Like she doesn't really talk about him except like this is a thing I have to do. Um, but I would have I guess it makes sense because the heart wants what the heart wants, but I would have
Mm-hmm.
thought she'd be a little more serious about like, well, I'm gonna be in Prague. I've enjoyed this time. Secretly, I love you. But we can't do anything together anymore. But it's a movie. It's a romance
Well,
movie.
my issue is that the other guy, he feels so inconsequential in this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like this would have been better if like we would have seen him more and how he treats
Mm.
here, but
Yeah, we get
yeah.
two scenes with him, I think, in the whole movie. Oh,
Hmm.
we might see him a third time, but I don't think he talks. But that's a little bit later. Anyway, it was a good scene. It raised some tension, made it clear, okay, well, this is where this story is leading. We're gonna go to Prague because this uh, movie was in coordination with in cooperation with Czech Republic's um, film industry,
Yeah.
which interestingly, here's actresses uh, is part Czech, I believe. I
Oh,
read on her website, Pakistani father, I think, and Czech mother, or maybe the other way around. But still,
well,
just so we
she's
know.
Pakistani. I didn't read that. I
That's what
checked
I
out her
read on her.
profile. Like,
I
um,
read on her website. She's from New York, I think.
yeah. So at this point, the movie it does some non-linear storytelling as it
Mm,
chooses to focus on a journalist. Like Jordan is making music, but like his life is sort of like out of sync, and the journalist is tasked with finding information on a new artist. Like the journalist goes to the record company, and the record company's like, I don't. This guy just sang a couple a couple songs on the album. He's nothing. But then the journalist goes to the his family. He hasn't been living at home, which is a bit strange. And so they
mm,
go to Katana. And he at first he tells the journalist like a fake, like rags to riches or something kind of story. And then he tells her what actually happened, which is that like Jordan, while he was with Heer, was kind of shirking his seeking fame. Like he had these offers, but he chose to do nothing. And then like eventually he started working for his family in their business, and they like eventually he was given control of like a specific office, and then money went missing from that office, which apparently like
Oh.
they chose to blame on Jordan. He pointed out that like this has happened before, and they smacked him, and his family sort of kicks him out. And I think at that point, like it's just they're tired of his lazy guitar ways, and they're just trying to excommunicate a black sheep of the family, uh,
Yeah.
in my view. And then, which is very sad. He goes and lives at a Nimrudin shrine, which
Hmm.
is a shrine known for its music in real life. And he encounters like they have him start singing, which is cool. But he also encounters Ustad, who is played by Shami Kapoor, and like Ustad sees him singing and was like, "Oh, he's great." Eventually, he goes to live with Katana. Katana takes him in,
Hmm.
and Katana also becomes his sort of business manager, his agent or something like that. And uh, yeah, so like Jordan is selected to sing some songs on the album. Um, some like for some like romance movie or something like that. But he keeps messing up. And as we find out from Katana, like he's doing it intentionally. And I think he's so sad at this point that he doesn't really want to be famous. That he wants that love back that he had. And then like as he's being sort of kicked out, like he's walking out and Ustad sees him and he's like, "Oh, this guy, he's great. Let's get him like an album. We'll give him a contract. He has some pull in the company, which is pretty cool." And like that all happens, and I believe like at some point the record exec is like negotiating like a deal with Jordan, and also getting a massage at the same time, and he's
Yeah.
just being the utter weirdo about it.
He's such a weird guy.
Hmm.
I love every time he's on the scene. His haircut is a masterpiece as well. Uh, yeah, that guy is such a weirdo. The way he talks. I mean, he plays like a completely out of touch, I control people lunatic very well.
Hmm.
Just the way he moves his body as well just really sells this guy. Does not understand like humans because he's been so blinded by money.
Hmm.
uh, and yeah, seeking profit. Um, this was a bit of a part, this whole element that's leading up to the interviewer, yeah, basically convincing Jordan that he should sign the record deal and go to Europe, uh, which is about to happen.
Yeah, he
Um,
he only signs because he hears that like there's a Eurojam contest where the select person gets to go to Prague.
yeah,
And
yeah. So he really wants to go, does get to go. This was a bit of a lull period for me in the movie. I guess just because I was so interested in Hira, and then Hira is not there. Where is Hira? Show me Hira.
mhm,
um, I mean, it was a good way to really set up and show more of, uh, yeah, he is a black sheep in the family. Now he's really just, especially with this, like signing the contract just to go to Europe. Um, again, showing some behavior of like main character syndrome in a way. I
mhm.
am going to go get what I want because I have to. Uh, at this point, do you think he's still searching for heartbreak?
No, no, I think he gave up on that the moment he found like the moment he started hanging out with Heer. Because
Mm.
you see, like he's shirking his musical responsibilities. So I think the heartbreak has sort of left his mind.
Yeah.
At,
He
at,
shirks a lot of his responsibilities. The entire time he is irresponsible, uh, a creep, kind of dangerous in that way. Um, Constantly getting in trouble with the law. This dude is a complete misfit
hmm
from a lower caste, a lower class. I mean, I don't think it really has anything with caste system in it, but or maybe I didn't recognize it, but um, yeah, he's such an interesting fellow. Does get to go to Europe,
hmm
starts becoming bigger and bigger. And is there a song on the way to Europe, or does he just find himself in Prague and somehow, some way, without explanation, finds here at
Yeah. Yeah. He like we see Hira like or here we see here in Prague. She's not doing too well. She's been seeing doctors.
yeah,
And she's going to see a therapist, and her friend's like, you don't need a therapist. You just need to keep busy because in India you were a dancer and whatnot, and here you're kind of doing nothing but being the trophy
yeah,
wife.
she's a trophy wife. She has no purpose. She can't do any of her cheap fun things. She's got all these expectations on her by her husband, who we never see, so we don't really know what is their relationship. How strict is he? He seems pretty chill later we see in the movie, but
hmm
so I'm a little like, okay, I get it. Like I'm down with y- yeah, as you said before, not having him in the movie more really makes a little bit of it. This is one of those loose ends that I
hmm
felt like if they don't do anything with him, so I can't really like identify where is the source of uh, desperate and lost for meaning in my life from here, because it's not really clear what's holding her back other than the implication of her class,
hmm
rather than like if we saw even a little bit, as you said, of the relationship, or a little bit more than we got in the movie, then I think it would make it more clear in this depression, which can come at any time for anyone, of course, but it would make the depression a little more relatable, I think, or
Well,
understandable.
as we find out, it's probably more than depression. It's
Yeah,
bone cancer.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So like, Jordan finds here, don't understand how he managed to do that. But Jordan, there's a montage at this point done to the song, Howa Howa, I believe it is.
mm.
Um, which is essentially a song, that he's performing with and the the Prague people, like as a sort of cultural
Yeah,
exchange.
yeah, that was so cool.
hmm
Seeing, especially like I think it starts with, or it really gets going into the chorus or something. You see some people, some Czech people playing some Czech instruments just on a stairwell.
hmm
And then he somehow joins in with his guitar and starts, yeah, playing along with them. Oh, no, right before he does that, he's like air guitaring and
hmm
I forget the melody he does, but then he starts playing and he's with Heer and all this stuff. And we see him all throughout Prague doing fun things, having a good time, doing cheap things,
hmm
um, riding
Going to
around
like
on.
the going to like seedy bars, the red light district. Um,
Yeah, I love. I don't know how, I love that they're just like, let's do the worst possible things that people would be shamed for going to do. I that I think like for me just yeah made them so much more fun, and just like, yeah, these people are so human. Like they're just, I want to be free and I want to be
Yeah.
with you.
Well, you said they match each other's freak, which I think is true,
Yeah.
but it's another example of how here is going to like she's doing tourism to the lower classes in order
Mm,
to feel, in order to get away from her the expectations of her high class, I
yeah.
feel. And it could have done a better job of showing those expectations, but just gesturing to it kind of works here. But you end up with that like this happening over the lyrics to Hawa Hawa, which the lyrics to the song are like it's a song about a king who doesn't like that his queen is dancing and being a little like flirtatious and free, so he tries to like control her. um,
Mm.
Feels sort of relevant. Again, if we had seen more of the husband, we would have probably
Yeah.
that would have
I
been a
guess we
better
get, yeah, we
thing.
get more implication. The song makes it more clear. Um, and that's cool, but I would have liked to see a little bit more. Uh, I think when I was watching Hawa Hawa specifically at this moment, I had the thought, one, I need to watch more Bollywood, and just Indian cinema in general, because I saw at the Shanghai Film Festival an amazing Indian film. I can tell you about it later. But all romantic comedies and romantic comedy dramas should have these songs and dances, in my opinion, no matter the country. That is just now
Mhm.
my opinion as a fact.
Yeah. When Harry Met Sally would be a lot better with a couple dance numbers.
Exactly.
No,
Uh,
I agree. This is why I'm starting to really like Bollywood and Tollywood more. The various
yeah.
different movie industries in India. So yeah, that's a great observation.
Yeah, it brings a lot. I mean, the lyrics of all the songs say something. This is meant to be a like a. It's creepy how he finds her. Does he have a GPS tracker implanted into her skin or something? Like, what is going on? Uh, but it's like a momentous occasion. They can go back to being free for just this once. Um, so it should be a joyous situation. We should see them expressing themselves and not just, laughing and joking around, but like, getting it out of their system, showing their, love through song and dance and that kind of stuff. So that was, yeah, quite cool. But they end their little session of debauchery in a field, which becomes relevant later uh, in a great way, I think, uh, where they kind of break the fourth wall, which I didn't really care for, about like talking about whether or not they should kiss. Um, or not break the fourth wall, but they're like, uh, what is that called? What is that term? They're referencing what would happen in a romantic movie at this point.
I don't think that's referencing anything. I think that's just like, we've gotten closer together. We should break the like we should break the tension and just kiss right here.
No, they were talking about seeing that in movies. They didn't reference a
Oh.
specific movie, but they were saying now is the point where if we were in a movie, we would kiss. Oh, maybe we should talk about kiss. How should we kiss? And how do we know when we would stop? Oh, where would it stop? And then he looks at her boobs and she goes, "Oh my God, you can't be that way."
Yeah,
um,
she it's the ultimate like kind of case of not ultimate case, but it's a case of like we should kiss, not really, but what if um
exactly.
like just pushing each other to this direction where they both know they can't be, but they're gonna end up. And then like
Yeah.
Jordan kind of like he kisses her, forces himself on her, but like she pushes him away and then she like kisses him. And, like it's good because like like it's not just him being creepy anymore. She wants to be an active participant in
Yeah.
this relationship, in this or in this whatever this
This
affair that they have going on.
sticky affair situationship thing going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Jordan even is invited to have dinner with her family,
Mm.
including the uh, including her
Well,
husband, and their
they
husband's like, "Hey, thanks for having fun with my wife. Keep on
yeah,
hanging out."
thanks, cuck.
Yeah.
But there was a little thing about the kiss. She pushes away a little bit because she wants it, but she knows she can't have it. Pushes away. And she like falls on the ground, not right after. I think they kiss again, and then she like falls on the ground. And there is through the blocking of the film an implication that they're gonna get busy. But then she, yeah, turns him turns him down and says, you know, we can't. And then what's the sister's name? Yeah, then the sister, anyway, then the sister
Mhm.
invites her over and he's like, thanks for entertaining my wife all day. Um,
Yeah.
not suspicious at all. Very weird to
Hmm.
say. I guess it could be an element of, I mean, I guess he's like a musician at this point, but maybe not too popular yet. So he's thinking like, this guy is not even anywhere near her class, like her
Hmm.
level. So he's not even worried about it at all. Maybe there's a commentary there. But I think at this point, when he said that, I was just thinking okay, he is a good person at heart, although he's kind of a psycho in like a innocent way. Um, but oh, I just forgot his name. But the main character, oh,
Janardon.
Jordan. Yeah,
Mhm.
Janardon. Jordan, I'll just say that because it's easier. Uh, and they call him that. Uh, but like uh, to go back to the like matching your freak thing, all the things that they do together, all what it just made me think of was like, wow, if you just treat like if you're more direct and like treat a woman as a human being, God forbid, um, who knows what could happen? uh like if you just it's hard and ugly and sticky and messy and feelings and social cues and whatever, but I think that is kind of why, other than like she wants to be a tourist in the lower class, see what their life is like and be free for a little bit, I think that is also part of why she what's his name, Jordan, appeals to her, that he just like treats her like he would treat anybody else, even though he's kind of a weirdo. I don't know if you felt that way, but uh, that
No,
was
no,
what I was
that
thinking.
makes sense to me. That's pretty evident from the beginning, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, good point. But at this point, like Jordan and Heer have an affair. He says he's gonna show up in like her backyard, and he's like, "I'll be there even if you don't show up." But she shows up,
Yeah.
and at that point, the song "Our Ho," Aurho, plays. And like it basically shows the level of their affair. That like they end up sleeping together. She runs across a bridge, in a beautiful shot, and then
Mm.
they're like holding hands in a very intimate way. They never show them having sex because that's not what Indian cinema really does. Um, but it does show them getting very like intimate with one another, and in many of the
Mm.
shots you can see how her ring is framed. um like it's very like it's showing the conflict, like she's married but she also loves this man, and she doesn't really want to uh like mess up with all that, and it would also bring a
Right.
lot of shame upon like her and her family,
Yeah.
reputation there. Again, another
Yeah.
probably class thing. And
That's right. And also the shot right before she, one, Prague is beautiful. But two, The shot before she's running on the bridge, which was a great shot. That was in my top five from the movie. Um, the shot before that is like uh, her literally jumping out of his bed and running.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of the hand holding stuff to imply, but that if they couldn't have made it any more clear.
Hmm. Hmm. Great song, but the Arho is essentially like Jordan saying like I'm conflicted, like
Mm,
I'm torn, like what of my desires or something like that.
yep.
But at the end of the song, like at the end of the tour, like Jordan and her have a big fight, where Jordan's like, what's gonna happen from here? Come, let's get away from here. I don't have to be famous. We can just like abscond. And here raises a point like, no, we're just gonna end it. I don't want to talk to you anymore. In fact, like you probably want to end on good terms so that we can start this again down the road. Um, uh,
Yeah,
which there's
that
a
was
point
it.
to, but it's also highlighting again how she's kind of using him
Yeah.
in this way, like which is unfair, but like I think Jordan knows at this point like what he's getting from here.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really great scene. Um, it was, I think for me, I started rooting for Heer more at this point, although I did sort of feel like, yeah, she is using him. Obviously, but for me, and I'm sure you'd agree, but obviously this out backlash that she's giving him is out of love and fear for what if they get caught and like this just can't continue and you're gonna leave and this kind of thing, and yeah, you just want it to continue when you can come back and whatever. But at this point we're really seeing, although this is a great, like, it's heartwarming and fun to see them happy and getting closer, even though yeah, this last couple scenes has been more and more tense about the relationship. Um, and here's an explosion of the love in a bad way. But Jordan is not a good guy at this
Mm-hmm.
point. He is a creep. He will not let this woman go. Um, he's obsessed with her. She's married. She's telling him no because he knows that she wants him, and he won't let it go because he's got main character syndrome, and he's irresponsible and like kind of dangerous in this way. Like, how far is he really willing to go? Like, what if, I don't know, what would he do if the husband stopped being like, thanks for entertaining my wife, fella? What if the husband started getting confrontational with him?
Hmm.
Like, would that stop him? I don't think so.
It wouldn't be good. It would
Yeah.
probably turn pretty rough. But before, like he's getting on, or he's getting ready to get on a plane when suddenly he changes his mind. So tell us what happens at this point, Lucas.
Isn't he deported back to India?
Yeah, he goes back to
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I
Here's.
skipped something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he's getting on a plane and he changes his mind and he wants a goodbye, a proper goodbye. So he breaks into Here's backyard, and the police immediately come and find out. This is one thing I love about the editing. Things just happen. It's like, we got to make this story go, baby. We got things to happening. Let's get moving. There's no in between. There's no like, there are scenes, of course, where there's characters like thinking about, being introspective, but not a lot. It's just like, we're going here, we're going here. Don't question why it's happening. It's just happening. Um, but anyway, sorry to have that outburst, but
No,
I
it's
this
it's
was
a good critique.
it works in this movie because it's so ridiculous, because he's just immediately at her house and the police are there immediately. um
I thought they were security.
oh yeah, I guess security, that makes more sense that they're there, but I prefer to think that it's police
Mhm.
given the pace of the movie at times. And for whatever reason he's just walking around like a zombie, like here, here, here. Uh, and she comes out trying to stop him, like, don't shoot, don't shoot. He's okay. Uh, because the security and or police um, are getting physical once again with this lunatic.
Yeah.
um, and um, then she starts yelling at him, like he's like, I just wanted a goodbye, a proper goodbye. And her husband comes out and finally he shows some moxie and he's like, what's going on here? um and then she, like, one of the things that she said when she blew up at him to get him to go away was like, are you really this selfish? You can't let me be happy in my own home?
Hmm.
And then she brings that back again and just screams and shouts at him, and he's like trying to play innocent. Oh, I just wanted this, I just wanted a goodbye. And yeah, she freaks out, yeah, rightfully so. um and he goes, or is taken away, to be deported to India. But as she turns around to her husband, she faints.
And we find out what happens with that a little bit later. Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that she like he like she's like, oh, you're like you can't let me be happy, but also look what you've done. Like my husband's gonna know now, you idiot.
Yeah. You
And from
think,
there,
yeah,
like another great song plays, Sada Hawk. Um,
my favorite song. I loved
Jordan
the mhm.
Jordan gets deported, but then he's also fighting police officers at the airport and he gets put in jail. Um, so like it's great because like ACAB, Jordan recognizes that the police are the problem, and maybe that's a point that the movie's trying to make.
Mm.
Um, a lot of Indian movies I've seen. Well, the small sample size of Indian movies I've seen have been like ACAB. Uh,
Yeah, same here.
uh, but he so the song Sada Hawk plays. I have a bit of a little bit of a history with this song, and that I actually discovered it like in 2011, because I was like
On
surfing the internet and I just randomly found it. And I was like, this is an amazing song. I wish I could watch the movie, but sadly the Indian cinema isn't quite available to me yet.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
another
sadly
13
you
years.
hadn't met me 13, when did we meet? 3 years later, I guess.
2 years.
2 years later, yeah, I met you before Encore. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway,
But yeah,
that's interesting.
no, it's so Sada Hawk is essentially like a song of like rebellion. We see like the lyrics on the uh in the movie, like in the English translation, aren't completely accurate because it's supposed to be give me what I want when I want it, which is like now, like what he's saying. And
Ooh.
people interpret it to be like, wow, he's saying he's standing up for the rights of the lower class and whatnot, gaining quite a following as a result. Um,
He's a disturbed mind.
yeah, he's like what he's actually singing about is like, I want this woman, give her to me right now, which
Yeah.
is like I'm trying to enjoy this movie. Don't make me think about toxic masculinity, buddy. Um,
That was something that actually, as an unfortunate kind of stereotype that I've seen a lot on Twitter, that I think the movie was actually condemning it, in a way, even though it had this beautiful kind of romance with this gorgeous girl. Um, there's like a lot of Indian men, I guess, from stories on the internet at least, uh, are pretty disrespectful to women and just like eh, not just touchy feely, like just grab a show like the like show me Bob and Vagine jokes memes that you
Hmm.
might have seen before
Hmm.
is from other stories on the internet that aren't just that meme, like seem to be based somewhat in reality. Uh, and when I was watching this, I was thinking, oh, yeah, this is criticizing that because I didn't know the exact translation, like you said. But now that you say, give me what I want when I want it, thinking about the way that this psycho acts in the movie, uh, I think there is something there that it is criticizing this kind of person. Uh, mm, yeah. But I love the performance. Like, I love the guttural, like, shouts and yells that he does when he's performing in the audience. I thought that
Hmm.
was cool. And I thought
Stage presence.
yeah, he's learned stage presence finally. And I also love that his uh, recording studio has pivoted, spun this narrative to make him appeal to more of an audience, a bigger audience in India. Like
Hmm.
he is this rebel. He's a badass rock star that the authorities don't want you to listen to, and this kind of thing. I thought that was really cool, and I also really loved right when the song ended, it turned it turned from the like camera screen to camera picture to this like artistic rendition of the last frame. I thought that
Hmm.
was a really cool shot. There are also a lot of cool things that happen in these last few scenes of like I think when he's fighting the police, there are a whole bunch of uh, photographers taking pictures, and it's just like frame after frame after frame after frame after frame of different photographers' pictures,
Hmm.
like like within um, if it's a 24 frames per second film, it's like frame one through six is one picture in 1 second, and then frame 7 through 12 is another picture. Like it's just moving really
Hmm.
fast, showing all these pictures. I thought that was a really cool uh, editing decision to show. I don't know what it showed, but Sadahawk was my favorite song. Even though now that you tell me what it actually means, I'm even more disturbed by
Oh,
him.
I like it even more now. But there's another thing that happens, maybe unrelated to the movie, is one of the places that they filmed was a Tibetan monastery or like a monastery of some sort. And there's a sign that's like censored. I don't know if you could see that, but it originally said free Tibet, but they censored it because they didn't want to anger their Chinese neighbors.
Right.
I just wanted to point that out. And then like there does seem to be an element of political commentary there because you see a lot of Tibetan and even Kashmir people in this movie.
Yeah.
And there's an act of like, we want to be free or something like that. Just a minor thing worth noting. But after the song, the movie kind of phases or like focuses back on um, Heer. Or actually, it focuses on Jordan being uncontrollable and just all the inner turmoil. Like his record company is unhappy with him. They want him to sign a new deal, but he just rips it up and makes fun of the record company exec. And Catan is like everyone is going to hate you sooner or later. Like you're causing a lot of trouble, and like as he's saying that, everyone's like, "Oh, Jordan, we love you, woo, yeah."
Yeah. Yeah. His mentor also has no control over him at this point. Um, or limited anyway. Like he's so heartbroken that he can't have what he wants when he wants it. Um, that he's become this bad boy. And his new assistant, he has like after a concert, instead of kissing here as he was doing in Prague, uh, she's on the off stage area. They have a little talk, and she tries to seduce him in his trailer. They're getting ready to make out, but he can't do it. She,
That's
is a
that's
little bit later.
Sheena. That's the original
Oh, Sheena.
journalist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's
And
right.
she's like, it'll never happen. I'm not here. And
Yeah,
you might
as
be
she's
wondering, like,
laying
how
with
does
her
she know
legs
about here?
splayed.
But if she's a good journalist, she probably connected the dots. Like he showed, like
Yeah,
he trespassed like at an estate. Like it's pretty safe to say that maybe it was romantic in nature. I'm
yeah.
just surprised she didn't guess that it was like the man.
Yeah, I was wondering because it was Sheena. I was wondering because I wasn't sure if she wanted that. Like, she seemed okay with it. I don't think he was uh, raping her or molesting her. Because she seemed to want it because she went for some kisses too on her own. But then he pushes her onto the couch and she just like splays her legs and lays there
Hmm.
sensually. And yeah, makes the comment, yeah, I'm not here, or I'm not here. But I was kind of thinking in that moment, is she just looking for the latest scoop?
Hmm.
Or what's going on here? Or is she just an assistant now? Is she anyway? That was something that I was thinking at the time. It's probably very minor, not too important. But Jordan is a bad boy now. Everyone loves him. They love his image. This is the most important thing. That's kind of something that I think the record exec had made a point of, right?
Hmm.
Image, and like the worse he acts, the more people love him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Um,
may and he's climbing up social ranks as well. So I think there's a social economic ladder as he becomes more famous. So probably a comment there
mhm.
as well.
But then the story flashes back to when Heer passed out. They rush her to the hospital, and we find out that she has plot disease, cancer disease. She has bone disease. Like her
Her
blood,
bone marrow.
yeah, her bone marrow aplasia. She's not making enough red blood cells, and it's killing her. And she's bedridden, and things suck. While Jordan is playing a concert, her sister visits him, and it's very funny because she's dressed like Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
Like she's dressed like one of Jordan's fans, like a goth emo type person.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like Jordan hears about what's happening, immediately rushes, can't like forsakes a couple of concerts, which comes into play a little later. And he's like, hug me here. You got to hug me. And like she's annoyed with him, and so she just gets out of bed. And her family comes in and is like, "You're standing. This is amazing."
Well, you're underplaying something. She's in bed, knocked out, and he's looming over her like this.
Totally normal, like people
Yeah.
do.
And then he's like, I'll give you a hug. Just, no, I want to give you a kiss. I'm going to kiss you no matter what you do. Oh, okay. Then I'll just kiss you on the cheek. And she gets out of the bed, and her parents walk in at that moment. And they're like, what's happening? And then they walk out very awkwardly, like, what the fuck did we just see?
Yeah. Also, her husband, like, he asks her like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "I think I like Jordan, but I don't know what's going on." And he's like, "Well, fine. I'll just we'll talk about this later." And he just walks out, and you don't see him the rest of the movie, which is again weird and like maybe, but it's also like like you're inconveniencing me in this marriage. Goodbye.
This man should be in jail. That's all I can say.
But like the more they hang out, the better she seems to be doing. Her blood count goes up. Like this seems to be helping her psychologically speaking,
Yeah.
to be around someone that she loves. They hang out, they go places, and things are pretty good. But the media sees them together and takes a bunch of pictures. And
And he gets
Katana shows
violent.
up. What?
And he gets violent.
Yeah. Um, Katana shows up at this point, is like, you've been forsaking all your responsibilities, and here's like, well, I've asked him, and he says, oh, I'm free, I have nothing to do. Again, showing like it's not fame that he wants, it's this woman, it's love.
Yeah. And the more he pursues this love, the more fame he gets. Or like not because of not because of his pursuit, but kind of actually. I think this like shirking responsibilities is uh building the persona of Jordan. And it's like my guess would be, I don't think the movie really directly says this, but my guess would be like his music is so great, but it's really hard to see him because you never know what he's going to do. And now
Mhm.
it seems that there's this juicy gossip. He's pursuing this married woman, and that's kind of like a romantic angle that maybe people can relate to or support. You just never know when he's gonna. I don't know. That was my impression of like that's
Mhm.
the only thing that makes sense to me for why people would want to keep coming to him and why he's still getting more and more popular. Other than his music is very good.
He's getting a lot of people very rich.
Yeah,
And like, here seems to be getting better, but Jordan has to go back on tour, or else he has a lot of lawsuits, and there
yeah.
there's a like Katana even says like, oh, London, they'll take over the lawsuits if you sign with them, and I think he does.
Yep.
And he goes on tour, and then here seems to get infinitely worse. Things are not going well for her, and she falls into a coma where the doctor's like, she's pregnant. Like, why? Like,
Wonder how that
how is she
happened.
pregnant? And it's not good because she's already dying. Like, being pregnant will just kill her even more. And like, her sister calls Jordan, and he rushes over and is like, oh no,
In the
like,
middle of a concert, mind you.
mhm.
Again.
Yeah. He's sitting in the hospital lobby, and the police show up to force him to do his legal responsibilities. And he's like, it's a very cool moment, a good moment in the movie where he's pleading with Katana, like, I don't want this. I want it. I want love. I
Yeah.
want here. Like,
He had
please don't
his
make me leave her.
yeah, he had his hero's journey. He finally this is what I actually want. I'm scared now. Don't make me do this. Don't make me be a rock star anymore. I want her. And that doesn't end well either.
Yeah, um it's a very sad moment. He goes and sees here. She's in a coma. He tries to kiss her and nudge her awake, and like just be like, "Hey, I'm here." And nothing. Like, she's done for, it seems. And he realizes what he's done. He realizes what all of this has led to, and he runs out of the room. As he's leaving the hospital, uh, one of the hardest
No.
and saddest lines of the movie,
Mm.
her sister just says, "You are her illness. You are a bastard." And I was taken aback by that because it's true. Unfortunately, like, he
Yeah.
needs to be told this, but god damn, could you see everything that's like happening to the woman that you love, and like that realization, and that just being told, like, you caused this, you are horrible, you killed this woman, like, you are the reason she's probably going to die.
Yeah, well, the reason that she does die. Um, yeah, that I actually like rewinded it because I was like, did I hear that right? Uh, that was one of the sickest burns, and the most well-earned uh degradation in a movie I've heard in quite some time. He is so horrible. uh Interesting to note, I don't think I saw the husband there. Did he give up on this? You know what we didn't point out? There is a small scene between Keen and her husband where he asks what was
I
going
I
on.
mentioned that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I heard you say it, and then I was in one ear, out the other. That went by. We'll talk about it when you're ready to talk about it. And then you never see him again. So that was a lie, I guess. Or
Yeah, I think it's intentional on MTS's part, but also like again better like another like further development of the husband character could have made this movie even better, I think.
yeah. Well, maybe that does say a lot about him, like this arranged marriage. Like, I don't care about this woman anymore because she got married to me, uh, seemed to be cheating on me. This is her fault.
The
Maybe.
newspapers reported on it. It made
Yep.
me look
Yep.
bad. But yeah, unfortunately,
He
Jordan at this
dies.
point like is rushes out of the hospital, and the final section of the movie takes place where he we see like where at the beginning where Jordan goes to the concert in Italy while the song Nandan Parindi plays, amazing song, probably maybe even better than Sada Hawk, but like those are competing with one another.
Yeah.
Uh, we see like the scene from the beginning of the movie play, as well
Yeah.
as him like getting used to his fame. Like they relabeled him as Noir, like
Yeah.
like a dark character. He's
He is.
he's grown like hair, like full hair, and like this thin mustache, of course. His mentor, like the man from the shrine, is very sad about all of this happening. I think his character could have been fleshed out too.
Yeah.
And then he's vomiting. He's sitting in a bathtub while his guitar is on fire, which is
Yep.
it's a bit extra. Like it doesn't make
I
sense
loved it.
how that would happen, but it's cool, I think. And then like the Italy concert happens where we see like he's attacked by or like beaten up by these Italian officers, and he also punches the Indian officers like earlier as
Yeah,
well.
when he gets out of the hospital.
Yeah, and then he plays the Italy concert, and
Innocent bird.
yes, a lot of stuff worth discussing at this point. He says, "Scavenging bird, this is my plea to you: gorge on all my flesh, but don't eat my eyes." And because he don't eat my eyes, so I can see my beloved in heaven. But also, where else have you heard about a scavenging bird eating someone's flesh? Do you know of any myths that might correspond to such things?
Prometheus.
There you go. That was my thought when I first heard that. Uh,
I
Obviously,
guess
it doesn't quite line up because Prometheus is Greek, but also like he brought fire to the people, and Jordan didn't do that. But he
Jordan
is
brought rock to the people.
I was thinking that, but
Debatable.
I thought it was silly. There is corresponding Indian myths that might be better applied to that, but I find it interesting because he's saying there like Prometheus was doomed each day to have his liver pecked out by a bird.
Hmm.
And Jordan must be feeling the same way each day, forced to relive and understand the fact that he caused the death of his loved one, never able to be with her, suffering through intense grief.
Yeah.
That's really sad. That's like
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
that made
agree.
this final part like it made me tear up. Like
I
I
yeah,
felt for him.
I think the poetry of the lyrics for that song, like even the translation to English, like was very moving. I mean, it was very eloquent and beautiful and heartrending and tragic. I would like to. I'm not going to learn the original language that the song is in, but like
Mhm.
I wonder. I'm sure it's just even more so in the native language, and people can understand it. Uh, but I wonder, like, how beautifully written it is in that language. Like, what is the assessment of that? But like the translation, like I felt that. I felt bad for Jordan again,
Mhm.
even though I like for most of the movie, like the beginning of the movie, he's kind of quirky, funny, awkward, weird, and a little nutty and whatever. And then from the middle to the end, I'm just, yeah, you're an illness, you're a bastard, you're horrible. And then he sings this song, and I'm like, I'm so sorry you're going through this right now.
And I think there's a lot of things that are done in this final scene that help with that. One, the acting on Ranbir Kapoor's part, as he's like singing the song, he's not really singing it, but like the acting where like you see the grief on his face, and he's finally, felt the pain that allows him to, effectively sing and have the stage presence and all of that. He's feeling the song, but then another unfortunate thing, or another sad moment happens, where he's singing, and then he stops and turns around, and up like a flight of stairs leading into like the audience or whatnot comes what appears to be a Heer. Um, and she walks up to him, and they gaze upon each other, but we've seen that Heer is in a hospital coma. So this
Yeah,
is a vision, this is a hallucination brought
yeah,
on by the grief. He's succumbed to the grief in
yeah,
the worst way possible. And what's more is what's going on with the other people in this scene. He stops singing for a moment, and if you look behind him, the guitarist is shrugging. Like he's lost in this moment. He's supposed to be singing, and like he's just giving in to his grief. Given that the early in the beginning part of the movie, he's like, I love Jim Morrison, and he also sticks up his middle finger later. But like,
yeah.
what
After the
happened to Jim
hospital.
Morrison? What's going to happen to Jordan? Because at this point, the movie ends. We see just a flashback of all the good moments that have happened, because they don't want to end it on this huge downer note. But
Yeah.
like, what's going to happen to Jordan?
This, yeah,
This is
this
not
was a
optimistic.
dark, dark ending. I didn't notice the guitarist shrug, um, but I did notice that the audience was singing in his place,
Mhm.
for little bits here and there, at least. Yeah, it looks like here was not the only one with mental health issues by the end. He has completely lost it, lost his mind, uh, in his tragedy, his somewhat self-inflicted tragedy because of his uh, like main character syndrome. Give me what I want when I want it.
Mhm.
Just constant pursuit, no matter the consequences, no matter who gets hurt. Oh, the person I wanted got hurt. I mean, he didn't give her cancer, but he toyed with her too much and caused big problems. Um, and used her in a way, uh, to a point where I actually like I I always felt here did love um Jordan. And I'm not entirely sure actually if Jordan ever loved here. Like sometimes I felt like he might have, and then other times, like obviously early on, he was just like trying to get heartbroken. Okay, well, the heartbreak is tremendous, so he must have felt something by the end, obviously. Uh, but I'm does he just feel bad for himself? I
Well, that's a very good observation. But because I've been going back and forth on this since I watched it the first time, and my thoughts are that like they're both active participants in this relationship, and I do
yeah.
think to some extent they love each other, but they're both using each other. Obviously, here is trying to escape her high class lifestyle,
Mm,
and is using this maybe lower class man to do so, at least initially. Whereas
right.
Jordan, like first he's trying to use her to obtain fame, and then later he's using her to try to escape fame.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so maybe there's a reasonable question to ask: does he truly love her? And you could say no, like maybe not. Maybe he
Yeah.
he loves what she represents.
Yeah, I think he loves what she represents. Like, I do think he had some kind of feeling, like of friendliness, maybe, a friendship at least. But I don't think he actually, although I agree that Heer did use Jordan throughout this whole movie as they got to have fun and all that, to escape her own conditions. Um, I do still think there was genuine love. Like that kind of use is toxic in its own way. Uh, but I do think she saw his humanity and like enjoyed that. Whereas I don't know if Jordan ever saw hers.
Hmm.
Uh,
Interesting.
but
Very,
it's
very
still a great,
condemning there.
yeah, it's a great tragic ending. Like I did feel for Jordan at the end. Uh, this was horribly dark, like just horribly, horribly dark.
I should point out that Imtiaz Ali has said, like in interviews, if he he wouldn't have made it this dark if he had made it today. Like he was hoping that he could change the ending. But I feel like that's not what this movie is trying. Like if you make a happier ending, or at least a more positive ending, it kind of undermines the overall message
Yeah,
of this toxic masculinity, but also of the perils of seeking fame, especially when you're not doing it with with like the best intentions in mind.
yeah,
And so like I feel this ending is the only possible ending, the best, or like it's very fitting for what
yeah.
Jordan is trying to seek here, and what's happening with this love.
I agree. But although, there is a case to be made, I personally feel it is a nice little, if you just look at like the nice parts of their relationship, which the credits do, um, it is kind of sweet to see the flashback. I think it is just like un unnecessary completely, but there is this nice part of one of Rumi's poems, away beyond all concepts of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. Really beautiful, even in English. And it goes back to that first scene where they're talking about kissing. Well, should we, shouldn't we? The pushing each other into that. Uh, maybe it is necessary to the understanding of the film that there was some kind of love there, but it got twisted and warped, maybe by personal desires for how to use this person to get what I want or whatever. Especially on Jordan's end. Um, I guess if we're thinking of like, never mind all the wrongdoing that they have done, especially Jordan, all the insanely creepy, disturbing things he has done,
Mhm.
and right doing, there is something there, like some kind of love there, I suppose. Goes against what the rest of the movie makes me think, but I do, maybe this contradictory credits ending thing does complicate it in an interesting way. I don't know if you feel that it is canon or just, as you said, like we had to not leave it on a downer note. Or
Mhm.
what did you think of the this edition of the Rumi poem?
I think it encapsulates the movie. I think like outside of like right or wrong. Like obviously all the weird things Jordan does.
Mm.
Like that matters, but like there's still a love at the heart of this movie.
Yeah,
And
some kind of love.
that's what we're all seeking, I think,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what MTS is trying to go for.
yeah. Yeah. You know what? You have changed my mind on the movie actually through discussion. Because I
Hmm.
was like, this is really good, but I did not like how she died. Because I wanted to see more of the relationship with the husband and explore that a bit more, and have it be like tragic in that way. But now that we've talked about this and analyzed in our own way, actually, I do. This is like a case of a woman dying and changing the main character, uh, for the better. not the character becoming better, but like narratively for the better, maybe.
Good movie.
Uh,
But we reached a point where, it's the usual question that you ask, but I want to ask it this time. Which character do you identify with the most?
Usually I give a joke answer, um, but I think I might identify with Heer the most. Well, actually I think I identify with both the main characters the most in different ways. Uh, I know for a fact, unfortunately, when I was much younger, I not to the level that this psycho did, but I did not understand social cues when I was around girls I liked and like just stayed around them for far too long,
Hmm.
back in high school, like early college. And then, I started talking to feminists and learned that's not cool, dude.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I will grow up and mature and not do that again. But maybe that's how I relate to the lunatic in the movie. Here, I think in some way, although I'm not like an upper class person by any means, but uh, sometimes I do feel trapped by where I am at, and I want to, be more free and do other things that can't normally do. Uh, that not necessarily like cheap things, as Here wants to do, but uh, yeah, I think there is some element of that in me where I'm not as constricted by class, but I am constricted by maybe other social mores that are getting in my head and conflicting me, maybe.
Hmm?
How about you?
Probably Here's sister, because I'm in my goth. Wait, no. So I did the joke answer. The actual answer is Katana. Um, I definitely feel like I'm trying to steer some friends on the right path at times, and also overwhelmed by the amount of responsibility that would take. Uh,
I thought you were going to say because you give bad advice.
well, that too. Um, uh, Also the sense that I'm kind-hearted like him. Like he takes in a friend, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's very
He's a good
nice of
guy.
him. So yeah, a lot of interesting characters in this movie. Um, but yeah, that's the end of of our review here. I love the movie. I'm glad
I
I
love it
finally
too
watched
now.
it. What?
Yeah. I said I love it too now. I only liked it before, and now I love it.
Mhm. It only took me 13 years to get to this, but it was worth it. And now I have the physical copy, so I can watch it whenever.
Mhm.
So that's exciting. But go watch more Indian cinema. Not only Lucas, but also everyone listening out there, because there's a lot of fun Indian movies out there. Also, maybe you'll also discover Indian trash, where like it's a bad movie,
Hell
like
yeah.
The Room.
Hell yeah. Indian, dare I say we can find some Indian trash cinema? That might be fun.
Yeah, like whatever the
Wild Youth. I want to see that movie.
something like that. But yeah, the next thing is the movie we have planned for next month, which you have an interesting surprise planned, from what I hear. So tell everyone what that is.
Well, I was thinking, oh God, I forgot to decide a movie. Let's see what's on my watch list on Letterboxd. And there were a lot of good contenders, uh, movies that could be something. But unfortunately, they are all bums. Let's face it. I'm paraphrasing here, but you don't understand because we're going to have a little bit of class. We're going to watch 1954's On the Waterfront uh, with Marlon
Okay, a
Brando.
little bit of that one guy whose name I'm forgetting.
Marlon
Was it
Brando.
Marlon Brando?
Yeah,
Um, I've seen A Streetcar Named Desire.
he's
Uh,
great in that.
but I haven't seen. I could have been that's why you said bum. I could have been a contender.
Yeah.
That
I
class.
was kind of paraphrasing, trying to fit it into my recommendation, see if you would pick up on it.
Yeah, but now I have. Um,
Yeah.
I'm very interested in that. Brando's an interesting actor.
Mm.
But I don't know what On the Waterfront is about, so I'll be surprised.
It's interesting. I think there's like the mob is involved and throwing boxing matches and all sorts of
Hmm.
a murder is witnessed by somebody who should not have seen it. And there's a lot going on. It will be an interesting, maybe another interesting movie about, yeah, it's an American film, so American culture and stuff like that. I'm excited. I've been wanting to watch it forever.
Okay,
So now,
well, be on the lookout for that in about a month or so. But yeah, super exciting. Go see this movie if you haven't seen it already. And given that a lot of people always check out my videos whenever I talk about something vaguely Indian related, hello to everyone from, or goodbye, I guess, to everyone from India out there. If you have anything to say, let us know in the comments below. If you've seen this movie before, we'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe, not only to my channel, but also to Lucas at Strike the Sun MD, which is linked to in the description. But until then, we wish you the best of luck in your weird and music related and hopefully not creeping on women travels. Farewell.
farewell.